World's Strongest Man is coming back faster than ever. We're only 3 months away from the biggest show of the year. You could have the shortest ever reign for a World's Strongest Man champion, Alexei Novikov winning the title in November. The new champion is going to be decided in June. We've had the release of the 25 athletes competing. Let's take a look. Okay, now that I've got that excitement out the way, we're going to go through the athletes. Yeah. Now this list, as we can tell from last year as well, this may change. Athletes pull out, get injured all the time. But this is the 25 athletes that have officially been invited to compete this year.
There are a couple of really big names missing again this year, but we're going to do a whole video about that, so check that out on the channel tomorrow.
Okay, first things first. When is World's Strongest Man happening? It's happening on the 15th of June in Sacramento, California, in the USA, apparently in the USA for the next 3 years. And like you just mentioned, that causes a lot of issues for certain athletes. So there's certain athletes that aren't going to be able to compete, which is a shame. But we're going to focus on the 25 men that will be competing. Starting off from Great Britain, Gav Biltong is returning. How do you feel about Gav going back to the World's Strongest Man?
Yeah, you know, I'm happy for Gav. Gav was a late entry last year, wasn't he? So he wouldn't have had very long to prepare.
No.
Gav is the current UK strongest man. Gav is an absolute monster as well, isn't he? And he's still quite new to the sport. He came from rugby, I believe.
Gav's improving massively quickly, and I'm quite excited to see how he does this year. He's got the experience of competing in World's Strongest Man one time now. I think we're going to see a big performance.
Next then we have the current Britain's strongest man, Adam Bishop. So this is Adam's 6th appearance at World's Strongest Man. Last year was his best showing yet. He had a brilliant start in the final last year. Ended up placing 6th overall, which is still brilliant.
It was an up and down contest for Adam last year. Did not start well in the heats. He struggled to get through to the final, but once he was in the final, awesome performance.
Yeah.
He's someone now that's going to be a long-reigning Britain's Strongest Man, because he won it way back at the start of 2020.
Yeah.
Still currently Britain's Strongest Man. He's a great athlete, always improving every year, and looking forward to seeing if he can improve on that 6th place from last year. So the next man on the list is Maxime Boudreau from Canada. His first World's Strongest Man again from last year. He's back again. Same as Gav. He's going to have that experience from competing there once now already. I'm sure he's been improving over the last few months. And, you know, Canadian strongmen are always dangerous, as we know. So looking forward to seeing Maxime back.
So next, also from Canada, is JFkaran. Now JF, he feels like JF's been around forever, and he's still improving.
His 11th World's Strongest Man?
His 11th competition. He's been top 5 for the last several years now. He had a couple of 5th places, then a 4th place. Last year was his best placing at 3rd. And can he improve on it this year?
He really can. It was great to see JF on the podium. And, you know, he just keeps getting better. He's got so much experience. I don't know the events yet, so I'm not going to worry about predicting anything, but JF is a threat in any contest. The next athlete on the list is the American Kevin Ferris. He's coming for his 3rd World's Strongest Man contest. He was 7th last year, the lightest man in the contest, getting better and better every single time we see him compete. I know you're a fan of Kevin. You've been impressed with him over the last couple of years. And from what I've seen of his training and stuff, he's coming in focused.
Next then, another person I've always been a fan of. Mark Felix is back for his 16th appearance.
Jesus.
At World's Strongest Man. Mark's highest placing ever was 4th back in 2006, I want to say.
Yeah, maybe.
It'll be correct on the screen when this is up. So his best placing's 4th, obviously several years ago now.
Mark Felix is just a thing at World's Strongest Man now. If you have World's Strongest Man, you have to have Mark Felix.
Mark is part of the furniture at work.
16 is ridiculous. I mean, you know, we can say so many incredible things about Mark, but just 16 appearances at World's Strongest Man, that is crazy. I'm trying to... Why Mark?
He obviously loves it.
Mark Felix, a massively popular athlete, going back for his 16th attempt at the World's Strongest Man. So our next athlete is the first man this year that wasn't there last year. Johnny Hansen. He won Sweden's Strongest Man in 2020. I think the last time Johnny was at Worlds was 2018.
That's right.
He's a great athlete. Again, someone that's improved a lot. He didn't want to come to Worlds last year because he won Sweden's, got an invite, but it was literally weeks before the show, and he didn't want to come without being well prepared. This year, he's got time to prepare. we'll see if he can make the final for the first time.
Next up then is another British athlete, Graham Hicks, also known as Hicksy. Graham, God bless him, he made the final for the first time last year and then got injured on the very first event. So not had the best luck at World's Strongest Man, and it really doesn't reflect what an incredible strongman he is and what a freakishly strong guy he is as well. So, you know, Hicksy just needs a little bit of luck and he can do really incredible things.
Hicksy's one of those with the right set of events. He's a nightmare for anyone. I hope they're good events for him. I hope he's in shape.
Definitely.
So after Hicksy, we've got another strength legend from the UK, Mr. Terry Hollands. Terry's got to be going for about 14 now.
This will be his 15th.
So Terry's got to be going for about 15 now. Terry, again, much like Mark Felix, a classic staple of the World's Strongest Man contest. I think for both those guys, their best years are past them. I don't think either of them would take offence to that. I hope they wouldn't. I would include myself into that. But both very dangerous with the right set of events.
As Terry proved last year as well. He was quite surprising in the groups.
He did really well in the groups last year, and he knows how to prepare for a show like World's Strongest Man. I'm sure he's going to bring his best.
So next is Ivar Engelson, who is from Iceland, and this is going to be his second appearance at World's Strongest Man. Last year was his first attempt, and I believe he came fourth in the group. But yeah, we saw him more recently at World Ultimate Strongman in Bahrain, and he seemed much improved. He
looked like he's
very
improved
impressive.
a lot.
Yeah,
he was
very intense and just a man on a mission.
You could just tell he's been putting the work in. He seems like he wanted to prove people wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
And, you know, we see that improvement in a lot of the younger guys. They improve faster than us old boys. And, you know, I'm sure with the experience, he's going to do very well this year.
Definitely.
Next, we've got another returning athlete, Mr. Constantine Janasha, someone that rivals myself on the beard department. He's pretty epic.
Close, yeah.
He's coming back from injury.
Yes.
I was expecting big things from him in Bahrain, if I'm honest, and he didn't quite perform. But he's going to have 3-4 months extra training. I think, you know, his back strength is crazy. He's a great all-round strongman. I am just a little worried watching in Bahrain that he's got like a bit of a mental issue with his tricep injury.
You mean like a mental block, not a mental health issue?
Not a mental health issue. Just when you're coming back from an injury, and obviously I know this from personal experience, watching him and Rob Kearney actually come back from injuries. Rob is very, very near still to the amount of the time since the injury, whereas Constantine's had a long time to recover, and he still looked quite affected by it. I'm hoping he can block that out and go in and perform the way we know he can, because this is a guy that's come fourth at World's Strongest Man. He's been on the podium at countless international shows. He's more than capable of being a threat to anyone. I just hope he can get himself back mentally in that kind of laser-like focus that you need. And you've got to block out those issues. You can't think of things that have happened in the past. If he can do that, he's always a threat.
So next we have the return of Trey Mitchell. Now this is Trey's third appearance at World's Strongest Man. His best showing so far was his first appearance in 2019. He was involved in a rather controversial stone-off between Alexei Novikov, which saw Trey go through to the final. He wasn't able to qualify last year, but again, Trey is one of those new upcomers that he's improving so quickly. So really interested to see what Trey brings this year.
Looking strong in the gym. You know, we know he's dangerous on many events. We saw that in that head-to-head Atlas Stone. And he's going to be another hungry American that wants to perform in his home country.
Hungry American.
So our next athlete is the current champion, the incredible Alexei Novikov. One hell of an athlete. I've been mega impressed with this guy. Yes. The improvement in him has been rapid. I mean, he was always a threat, but he just seems to have matured over the last couple of years, and he walks around with this air of confidence. When you see him, he's a man that believes he is one of the best athletes on the planet. He's smart. He figures out events. You know, I really don't think it matters what events are thrown at him. He'll come to perform. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win, but he is a legitimate contender for the title.
Definitely. Next then we have the American Monster. Is that what he's called? The American Monster, Robert Oberst. He is back for his 8th World's Strongest Man appearance. Last year, Robert wasn't able to progress from the group stages. The last time we saw Robert in the final was in 2018. So, yeah, we'll see what he can do this year.
The last couple of years, he's been a one competition a year man, so It's going to be interesting.
Pretty much
to see.
just World's Strongest Man mostly, isn't it? And then a couple of Giants Live he's done in previous years. But yeah, so it's very hard to know what to expect from Robert because we don't see him compete very often.
So the next man on the list, this is going to cause some controversy, I think. Now, if I was an athlete that was on the cusp of being invited to World's Strongest Man, I could see why a lot of people would be angry at this. But if you guys go back and watch my Talking Strongman with this man, I mean, Travis Altmaier is the athlete I'm talking about. And part of me, you know, I get a bit upset with the qualifying system for World's Strongest Man. But the human in me, you know, this guy has been through so much. And he was finished. You know, we're not talking about strongman. His life was nearly finished. Everything taken from him into the worst place. And he's been on a mission to basically make his son proud. He's not been able to see his son for so long. And he wants this opportunity to be on TV, particularly in the UK, because that's where his son lives. And to prove that Daddy has kind of come back from despair to where he is now. And I know this man will put in a performance.
I just want to give Travis a hug.
I don't think Travis is going to win World's Strongest Man.
No. But let's not forget, Travis was an incredible athlete.
He's been 4th, I believe, at the Arnold's, 5th at Worlds.
He came in 5th at Worlds, I think 3 times.
3 times. He's won international shows. When he turns up in shape, he's dynamite.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced, given this chance, he's going to turn up in shape.
And he's going to give it everything he has as well. Like, no matter what, it's not going to be a boring performance from Travis Altmaier.
No, Travis is an entertainer. He'll give it 100%. I do understand the kind of outrage from certain people. If I was an athlete that was overlooked, I'd be upset. You know, I really would. I totally sympathise for the athletes that haven't been selected. We are going to do a video on that separately. We just wanted to focus on the people that are in. But Travis Altmaier is the next man on the list.
Jerry. I'm a big Jerry Pritchett fan.
Really? Do you remember when our son used to kind of... Jerry was always his favourite.
Yeah, and none of us knew why.
He just took a liking to Jerry Pritchett.
Yeah, preferred him over you.
Yeah, well, probably still does.
Maybe. But yes, Jerry Pritchett is back. This is Jerry's 6th appearance at World's Strongest Man. Now, last year, before the competition, didn't really talk about Jerry. Looking at Group 1, I thought, it's Luke's to lose. Just thought, no, he doesn't really have much competition in there. But then Jerry put on the performance of his life.
Jerry was in shape last year.
Jerry was brilliant, and he came 4th overall, I want to say. He did. He came 4th. So
it's the best performance I've ever seen from Jerry at World's Strongest Man.
I think for some of these athletes, the lack of competition has actually been really good for them because they haven't overtrained, they haven't overcompeted, and actually their bodies had time to do a little bit of healing, I guess.
And I guess Jerry's a hard one because he missed so many Worlds. He wasn't like someone that's there every year. You sort of track his performance. And he's always been strong, but a little bit injury prone, a bit like myself. He suffered with injuries and stuff, but when he can hold it together, he's hell of a strong man.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be a threat again this year as well.
Agreed.
Okay, the next man, another Englishman, this time Luke Richardson, winner of Europe's Strongest Man last year. He made the final in his first attempt at World's Strongest Man. That's a huge achievement in its own.
Absolutely.
He is talked about as the future of strongman, someone that can challenge the likes of Alexei, Tom Stoltman, Kiliashkovsky, those kind of guys. He's driven, he's hungry and wants to do well. I know he's been training hard over the winter.
He's looking really strong.
He's looking strong, and I'm sure he wants that opportunity to show the improvements that he's made since last year.
Next then, the one, the only, our Lord and Saviour, Mr. Brian Shaw, back for his 14th appearance at World's Strongest Man. Brian has made 12 consecutive finals at World's Strongest Man. The only final he didn't make was his first appearance. 4 times winner, came 5th last year. A lot of people shook at that. A lot of people not, given the events and who he was up against and everything else. But Brian is back. We weren't sure, were we? We thought, will Brian come back? But he is.
He's back. He's focused. He looks like he's getting fitter. He had a great performance winning the Shaw Classic. And he's still a man that's very, very hungry for that 5th title.
Yeah.
you never bet against him.
No.
I'm excited to see what the events are. I think once I see the events, then I'll sort of start looking at...
We've heard rumours, haven't we?
We've heard rumours.
We never bring you rumours. We like to know once things are solid, then...
If the rumours are true...
It's looking pretty good
events
for Brian.
for Mr. Shaw. But until we know for sure, and I know from experience... Rumours suddenly change when it comes to World's Strongest Man.
Confirmed events sometimes change when it comes to World's Strongest Man.
But Brian looks in a good place mentally. Yeah. He looks happy. He's focused on many things, but he just seems to be enjoying his training. He's looking fitter than he was last year. A lot of people thought he needed to get fitter because of the way Strongman is right now. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see. He's going to be a threat 100%.
Always.
Next up, we have Mikhail Shishlov. He's only been in the final one time.
Yes, 2015.
He's never performed his best at World's Strongest Man. He's someone that's done extremely well at the Arnolds. He's done well in a lot of shows around the world. He's a great entertainer. But last year, I really saw a disappointed look in his face when he didn't make the final. He got into the stone off and he was upset about it. It's going to be interesting if he's going to use that as motivation to really focus on it this year. Because, like I said, he's never, in my opinion, looked that fussed about World's Strongest Man until I saw him last year. And it looked like he really wanted to make that final.
Yeah.
I think he's going to come in hungry and in shape. So next man, Evan Singleton, returning from injury last year. He performed very, very well in the heats last year. Evan Singleton, a very, very awesome up-and-coming youngster. Someone that sort of... Some people really like him. He's a bit like Marmite. Some people really like he's quite brash, brings that WWE sort of entertaining element. But I can tell you, this kid behind the scenes is working his backside off, and genuinely a lovely guy. He really is. He was devastated last year when he tore his bicep. He's recovering well, or he's recovered well, I believe. He's training really hard, and he's motivated to get into that final.
So next is a Latvian athlete, Ivar Schmucksterless. This is Ivar's fourth. Is it his fourth appearance at World's Strongest Man? He's the current Strongman Champions League world champion. He caused a little bit of upset actually in Group 5 last year. Everyone was kind of like, oh, Luke Stoltman, Terry and Brian battling it out. But Ivar's got in there and he beat Terry on the stone off and qualified for his first final, placed 8th overall. We saw him at Wus Bahrain very recently and he was brilliant. He came 3rd overall. Really, and such a likeable man as well. Just a really, really nice guy. And I know that shouldn't matter, but to me it does.
You get drawn into that. But he's a nice guy, so I want him to do well.
I cheer on the ones that I like.
The weights don't care if we're nice guys or not. But Ivar's is a really strong guy too, and he's getting better all the time. Like you say, he didn't even expect to come 3rd. He
was hoping, he thought if he could come mid-pack in Bahrain, then he was doing very well. But he came 3rd, so hopefully he's coming in really confident.
In shape. So next up, we have the spicy Stoltman, starting off with Luke Stoltman. He's placed 7th, I believe, is his highest in the final. He's been how many, 6 times?
Sorry. Yes, this is his 6th.
This is his 6th appearance.
This will be his 6th, yeah.
So he's a real veteran now at World's Strongest Man. He's done extremely well in many, many international shows, yet to win a major title, but he's been close a number of times. Didn't make the final last year. I know how disappointed he was at that. He wants to get into that final again, and with the right set of events, Luke is a beast.
Okay, so next is Tom Stoltman, obviously Luke's younger brother. This is his 4th appearance at World's Strongest Man. Tom came 2nd last year.
Awesome.
Tom is, I think, everyone said it. He's got absolutely everything it takes to win. He reminds us a bit of a young Thor, like still developing very much so. I don't think Tom is even near his peak yet.
It's scary to think where he could get to.
Absolutely. And he's massive right now as well. And I mean humongous.
I think he's actually trying to bring his fitness up a bit more now because he almost got a little too big.
Yeah.
So he's working his fitness. I think he's going to bring a much better all-round package to Worlds than we saw at Bahrain.
Yes.
Still a threat on everything, but he didn't look his best.
No. And I think for Tom, he's got all the physical ability he needs. It's going to be whether he can keep that mental aspect. I don't know, maybe just having an off day in Bahrain or something. He still placed 5th and in an incredible field. So it's not like he did badly. Like we're talking like he came dead last.
I think it's one of those things, when people get really good, you just expect greatness from them.
And that's
all
hard,
it is.
isn't it?
It's tough.
Yeah,
it
as
is
an
really
athlete.
tough. It's much easier to be the underdog and just slide in underneath. When everyone's talking about you, it is hard because you feel that pressure.
Yeah.
As long as Tom can cope with it, he's got big brother Luke to look after him. He is a future world's strongest man. Can he do it this year? If he comes in shape and well prepared, in the right mindset, Tom can beat anyone. Next up, we have Bobby Thompson from the USA. If you check out, I did a Talking Strongman with Bobby very recently. He is a driven man that really believes he can win the World's Strongest Man title. Another static beast, very, very strong in the gym, getting better and better at the events. He was impressive in Bahrain as well.
Very impressive.
Beat a number of awesome deadlifters there, and he's talked about wanting to chase the deadlift record. He believes he's got a big deadlift in him. He doesn't go for maxes in the gym, he said. He's saving them for competition. I can't wait to see him pushed and see what he can do. But Bobby is looking in great shape.
He's going for the American log lift record at the end of next month as well. Clash on the Coast at the end of April. So that'll be interesting.
Could come in as the log record holder.
And another very nice man.
He is a lovely guy.
He's
really
lovely.
nice.
So the last athlete on the list is Chris van der Linde, and I hope I'm saying his name correctly. South African strongman who, to be completely honest, we didn't really know much about. So what was he subjected to?
Uncle Loz's background check.
And what we learnt about Chris was that in 2019 he was South Africa's strongest man. He narrowly missed out on the title last year by something like half a point. Statically very, very strong. Maybe lacking slightly in the more mobile events.
I think from what I've seen, and I apologise if I'm totally wrong on this, but it looks like he's very, very statically strong. Needs a little bit of work on the moving and athletic events, but relatively new to this level type comp. But he's pulled over 400 kilos quite comfortably in competition. That puts you into that world-class level. And it's great to see another South African competing at World's Strongest Man.
Nice to see someone we haven't seen before as well. Like, it's always exciting when we have new guys there.
New guys, there's guys from last year's show that we're all talking about now as like household strongman names. So I like seeing new people given the chance. And, you know, there's a lot of people that we could talk about that haven't been invited, and we are going to do a separate video on that. We wanted to keep this one as positive as possible for the athletes that are going, because there are 25 great athletes there. Sacramento, 15th of June it starts. The build-up is the fun bit. Now, if anyone changes, we'll be sure to let you guys know. We're going to go through predictions and all that kind of stuff close to the time. But for today, we just wanted to bring you the athletes and a little bit about each of them.
So what do you think of the lineup overall?
Oh, I think it's 25 great names in there. If I'm totally honest, and I'll probably get a lot of hate for this because, you know, some of these guys are my friends, but I think there's too many American and English athletes.
16.
I think with only 25 guys there,
Yeah.
you've got 8 British and 8, I believe, American guys in one contest. And I can think of a handful of great guys from all over the world that deserve a shot. Now, I love all these guys that are competing. You know, they're good friends of mine, so I'm not wanting to take anyone out of the show.
No.
But I think for World's Strongest Man, we can be more worldwide.
Absolutely.
That's my only real criticism to the 25 that are lined up.
I think it's a shame also that they've stuck with a format of 25. So it went down from 30 a couple of years ago, didn't it? I think I would like to see 30 back. I think 6 guys in each
I
heat.
guess I've said I don't like the heats. So I'd actually like to see less and a real tough qualifying tour to, you know, a legitimate tour, and Giants Live, top 3 are meant to qualify for each show. But a real system to go around the world and find the best guys. I love the one-day shows, and I don't mind who's in those shows, but the World's Strongest Man should be about finding people from all over the world, I think. You know, we've got 1 South African in there. There's no one from Australia or New Zealand. There's no one from South America. It's
Only a couple from Europe, from mainland Europe.
and look how many great athletes that are missing from Europe. I mean, one, I don't want to go into it, but Irvin Toots, he should be in there.
We'll leave that for tomorrow's video. We'll have much to say tomorrow.
It is a great lineup regardless. You know, that's the great thing with Strongman now. We have so much talent out there. There's 100 guys that are good enough to compete. But these are the 25. Get behind your favourites. Let us know your thoughts. And we'll be back with more strength action soon. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.